Hey y'all, John Ridling here. Just got done with the first event in the Southern Toyota Series down on Lake Kissimmee. Did go as planned for me, finished 89th. Could have been worse, there was 206 boats. So in any event, it's time to do some maintenance on the Mercury. I had some problems while I was down there, some grass and stuff getting caught in the water screens, but also came close to hitting 100 hours on my, my Mercury, so I'm going to go ahead and do the 100-hour service on it, and I'll walk you through that. Should be pretty easy. I've seen a couple other folks that have done some videos online about it. You know, maybe they're confusing, maybe I'm gonna confuse the hell out of you, I don't know. But it's pretty straightforward. And we'll start here with the kit that I ordered online. I ordered this from Parts View. It's basically just a 100-hour maintenance kit. It's got the fuel filter, oil filter, and the gear case drain plugs seals that come with it. Picked up a couple of gallons of 10W30 oil, and that's what we're going to be doing here real quick. Alright, so as far as orientation to where everything is on the motor for this 100-hour service, basically here we have the drain plug for the oil in the unit. 5/8 inch deep well socket's going to loosen that up, and then I just use a piece of 1/2 inch poly pipe to make a hose down to my drain pan. Next is the fuel filter, which is here. Red push-in style pin connectors take it off. There's an electrical neck connector down here that's got to pop off, and then you can get that out and change it. It's a fuel filter water separator. Then on the port side of the motor is the oil filter itself, which is up here. We'll get that changed out here in just a sec. Alright, so I got my 5/8 inch deep well socket. We're just going to put it on here real easy, break that off, break it free rather. Start to loosen that up a little bit. And I've got my little 1/2 inch piece of poly pipe here. I just squeeze that right down over top of it. And voila. Right in the pan she goes. That's going to take a few minutes to drain, maybe 10-15 minutes, whatever. We'll let that happen. Alright, got my oil filter wrench all set up on here. It's going to give it a little loosen job here. Nothing to it. Alright, I apologize for this being kind of all over the place. I've already loosened this oil filter with my oil filter wrench. Okay, Mercury puts this nice little drain plug right here. You just remove that. Mostly anything that's colored red, blue, yellow has some kind of removable function for the servicing of the motor. I just hold the filter up underneath it. Right here, I say I apologize for not having enough hands here to make this work. I'm gonna loosen this oil filter the rest of the way up. And there's a little reservoir down inside there underneath this oil filter that catches the residual oil. Let's see if I can show you. It's a little drain there, so whatever gets caught up in the way of the oil filter connection goes down in that little tub, and then it drains out this little hose, which is mostly perfect. So there's just a little bit that drains out, that's sort of residual. It takes it a minute or so to get coming down the little slide in there. Alright guys, so it's time to get the oil filter prepped and ready to go for the oil change here. Need to just rub a little bit of oil around that seal, but I also got something else going on. This oil change requires 7 quarts of oil. There's 4 quarts in a gallon, and I went to public school, so I'm a little slow with things. There's 32 ounces in a quart. So I'm going to go ahead and take a quart of oil out of this gallon. So now I know I've got 7 quarts of oil between these two that need to go back in there. And it gives me something to dab my finger down into and make a mess. Putting this oil filter with a nice little sheen of oil around that O-ring. Now, just straight over to port side of the motor. Screw it right back into place where she was. Hand tight only, or you can really jack some stuff up and put some come on jump on it. torque wrench, 500 million pounds of torque. Really snap something off and damage it, but really all you're just trying to do is hand tight. And I went ahead and replaced my drain plug cap there. So that's all ready to go. All right, so this is right at the top of the motor under the cowling. You have your dipstick, which has some beads on it, which we'll talk about after we fill it up. And this is your oil fill cap. We said everything that's colored yellow, it's usually a movable part for some sort of service. All right, that comes off. Stick El Funnelo in there. Now add my 7 quarts of oil, the quart that I took out, 4 quarts I have there. All right, doing this one-handed here, so bear with me. I have a long dippy stick. These beads here, if you hold them this way, you see where we're at with the oil dripping off of them. That's exactly where we're supposed to be. You hold it sideways like this, you can see them. If you hold it upright, you can't hardly see where the oil is on those yellow beads. When you turn them down, it falls down where it's supposed to be, the level. Kind of helps you out. That's a little Mercury tech tip there. Feed this long rope back in there. Secure it down. That's it, we're good. We got oil, we got the right oil, we got the oil filter done. Everything's cleaned up. We're gonna get to the fuel filter here in just a second. All right, so I've gone ahead and taken the prop off and all the components with it, the washers and the nylock nut. And basically what we have is these 2 regular slot bolts that are gonna come out here and here. This will be where it drains from. They're both drain holes. But we're gonna take this one off first. And as we do that, we'll notice that nothing will end up coming out of it until we loosen this one and break the lock in it so it can drain out the bottom drain hole. And then we're just gonna lower it down and let it drain. All right, so I've taken both the plugs out. Top one's gone now, and you can see it's starting to ooze out. It's gonna be a real slow process. Also here, you notice the yellow gaskets. I've got 2 new in the kit to replace these, so I'll take these off and just replace them. They're cheap and inexpensive to replace. It's easy enough to do them every time you change the lower unit oil, and it's just cheap peace of mind. There we go. And then we're gonna see what it is inside there. So you see, is it's a little press fitting, and it opens up, clamps down on that when you push that red fitting in. My thumbs are just so sore from being out on the water and fishing this past week. I have a hard time getting a hold of them. So I'm gonna put the phone down, I'm gonna get that one, and I'm gonna pop that electrical connection off of it, and this just quarter turn and comes out of here. All right, so the old one's out, and this is the new one that's gonna go back in there. First thing I'm gonna do is hook my electrical connection back up. It slides and snaps back in here, so, and this. Slides and snaps back in this one like so. Okay, there we go. All right, so we're gonna add the lower unit gear case oil now. This is Mercury's SAE 90 gear case oil. This just screws into the bottom. It's just a little plastic fitting, so you don't want to push on it too terribly much. It's a nice little fill kit, and you can get them pretty much anywhere. They usually come with a couple of different adapters, you know, one for Mercury, one for Yamaha, whatever. I think that one's a little different, but I've had this one for a little while. and works pretty good. And what we're going to do is we're going to fill this up just to where it comes out of this bottom of this top hole. Before I get started, I'm going to go ahead and take these new gaskets here that I was talking about earlier and put them on the bolts. When you're replacing these, there's really no sense in putting on the old ones back on. It's just a recipe for disaster. It comes in the kit for the 100-hour kit. Easy enough to do. So we're all hooked up there. Start pumping this in. You'll see the blue fluid start to go in. Here we go. If you look right here, see it just starting to come out. Give it a little push. Here it comes. I'm going to take that bolt and let it, give it just a second and let it push this bolt in here. Tighten it up snug. Put a new gasket on there. And we'll unscrew this. A little bit comes out and that's fine. We will put this bottom bolt in, and now our gear case is full of the right amount of gear lube. Tighten that up. Okay. A little bit of grease here, so I cleaned that off a little bit when I was cleaning some other stuff up. Just kind of keep some things from sticking. This goes back on in reverse order. Slides in and goes in the grooves. Slides all the way down. Perfect. And our 3 washers. A beveled washer. See the one washer's got a bevel to it. You want the bevel to be on the outside when you put it back together, so your thick washer. Next one. And the one that has the bevel in it, bevel to the outside. Put our block in here. It's a substantial amount of force on there to hold that in. All right, good to go.